Hey guys, welcome. I wanted to show you a two-part today on light tanks. Kind of give you a small little how-to on light tanks. So let's go over the roles really quick. Just wanted to start off and kind of break down how World of Tanks plays. I know I showed you that game with the Centurion, the one I was really proud of. But let's kind of talk about some of the theory really quick because there's a second game that's much more fast-paced, and I want to kind of break it down in this game before we tackle it in the next game that's way more exciting, okay? So, we are playing a tier 8 light Chinese tank. Now, there are a couple of different roles. You have your light tanks. Those are the ones that they don't have a lot of armor, but they do have armor. And they tend to have a smaller gun because they're a smaller tank. And they tend to be really fast because they're lighter weight and they have good vision. So their role is the scout. They go up front, they try and spot things. They want to be hidden either behind a rock, which would be hard cover, or soft cover, like a bush. You either don't want to be detected or you don't want them to be able to hit you, right? But you do need to spot for your team. Your team needs to know where to shoot to deploy. That's very important. Not only do they have to know where to aim their gun, but if you provide that information ahead of time, then they can take a position that should allow the opponent to be outmatched, right? So that's what a light tank does, and that is the role I prefer to play. Now you have the medium tanks, which I played in the Centurion. That's a bit more well-rounded. They can snipe in the back, they can shoot in the front, they can brawl, but they're not really great at everything, but they're proficient in everything, right? And then you have your heavy tanks. The heavy tanks are the big chunko ones. They tend to absorb some shots. They tend to have a lot of hit points, so it's okay if someone hurts them a little bit because they have more room to breathe. And they tend to have bigger guns, which don't always aim as smoothly or as accurately, but it doesn't matter because they have that extra wiggle room, right? And then you have your tank destroyers. Those ones sit in the almost very back. They're the snipers. They go find a bush. They go shoot some things, and they tend to not get in a lot of danger, or at least they're not supposed to because they're in the back. But they have a big gun. It's pretty accurate, and they tend to have almost no armor because once you spot them, they're like the glass cannons. They'll just die. And then the very last thing, the most glass cannony thing, would be the SPG, the self-propelled gun, or the artillery. And that sits in the very back. We're talking like in the back of the map where everybody spawned because they have zero armor. We're talking like 10 millimeters, 20 millimeters, something crazy little like that. They're basically little firecrackers in the back because just about a machine gun could hurt them. And they can shoot all the way across the map. If I was an artillery right back here, I could shoot all the way over here. They have a different way to aim because they play a little different. And they reload really slow. And their bullets fly really slow because they have to shoot upwards into a parabola and aim back down, right? So that's the rules or roles of the game, sorry. And let's continue. Thanks for letting me break down some of the rules. I think I have a lot of friends that might watch this and they might not know what the heck I'm doing. So I hope this explanation could at least make it a little bit more exciting, a little bit more fun. Maybe you'll stick it out through the whole thing, maybe you won't. But I really enjoy playing World of Tanks. It's a lot of fun. It's a shooter, but like you have to take into account different things than a normal shooter. Movement's really important, and it's based on all the tanks. So, like every tank is different movement, more so it's very exaggerated compared to a shooter game, which some characters might have more movement than others. It just feels more engaging this way. Anyways, enough of that. So we're deploying, and on steps, I like to take this position over here. Right over here. So this is like Greece or Rome. And unfortunately we hit that little statue. And the LH is being really aggressive. They get a shot. Good for them. Now, one thing I do want to talk about for this map particularly, light tanks, they can go up here. They can go over here. And I don't recommend it, but they can go here, but then usually you got to go somewhere else after you spot the heavies. So heavies, like this louver, we have two louvers. They tend to go here because it's harder for artillery to hit them. They can hide behind the little rocks over here. Or they can go here because, again, they can hide behind the rocks, make the angles for the artillery a little bit harder. Now, the LH, they were aggressive. They got the first shot. That's good for them. But because they got that first shot, they're all the way out here. When I take this position, I like to go here or here, depending on where I spawn, right? Because you have vision where you're aiming. And right now I can spot these guys. And I have this rock to defend myself. But the LH is out here, and look, our SPG could hit them, the SPG could hit the STA. So they're just being really aggressive, and it worked right there. But they have to recognize that maybe I should back off before I die. Now this STA, the STA, that's a Japanese tank. It doesn't have a whole lot of armor, even though it is a medium tank. So I'm not worried too much about what particular spot I hit it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to penetrate it with my bullets anyways. And so you can see the artillery just hit the LH. Because the LH is not in the back, they're kind of out in the front. There we go. Come on, just pop up for me. Nope. They're a little nervous, that's fine. Probably shouldn't be there in the first place, but that's okay. Now the artillery, great shot, nailed the STA there for us. One less tank for us to worry about. And I'm looking, I see there's a Progetto next to me. That's good. I can be a little aggressive because the Progetto has more than one shot loaded at one time. That's a specialty of the Progetto. It's called a clip. And he's got, I think, either 2 or 3 bullets in his clip. So he can dish out a lot more damage to me really quickly. He's a medium. That's what he can do. He also has a bigger gun. So after that, I'm aggressive, right? Because Progetto's there. He's a presence. And I want to go and get this LH. So the LH is right here. Now, if you'll notice, the LH is a visual shot of this UDES. So what I want to do is I want to move over here and kind of shoot from both sides and kind of pincer it off. So that way the LH can't really do anything. They're just dead at this point. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. Get a shot. Now what you're hearing there, that little click with the commander telling me that they've aimed in, that means that I am using the auto aim feature on World of Tanks. So that is the right click button on the mouse. And what that does is there's a gunnery person inside your tank, and they do the aiming for you. It's not a perfect auto aim. It's just something for like light tanks in particularly, but all tanks can do it. If you're driving around and you need to focus on driving and all these other things because so much stuff is happening, everything's exploding around you, right? So you can right click and they'll aim, but they only aim at center mass. So it's very important that you take that into account. If you're auto aiming on a heavy tank, you're probably not going to penetrate them because you'll probably just hit the heaviest piece of them and then the bullet's just going to bounce off, right? But we're doing this with light tanks, so I'm able to auto aim and know that it's probably going to hit, so I can be really aggressive and drive around like crazy, as we'll see. We bounce right there. Perfect. Now, I do want to break that down super quick so that way you can understand something. This tank is a Chinese light tank, right? So certain nationalities, they prioritize certain things when they build tanks, and they have all different designs, right? So Chinese tanks and Russian tanks particularly, there's other tanks that also struggle with this, but noticeably those two nations, they don't depress their guns very much. And what that means is that how low they can aim down, it doesn't go down as much as some, like the Americans or the Germans. Those tend to be able to depress all the way down to a -10 degrees, whereas -6 is all that these can do. So I had to use this hill right here in order to pop my tank up and aim the gun down to get that shot. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I also had to focus on aiming my tank. That's why I did the auto click there. Now we're just trying to maximize the damage because at this point we've spotted 598. Not a whole lot in a light tank, but this is a smaller map, so it's okay. Everyone seems to be doing all right. I don't need to spot anything. Everyone's got vision on something. So as long as my team has shots on things, I can afford to be a little bit more on the aggressive side and work my gun in and get some experience. So we see that Tu-44 and the Louvre. Between the two, I shoot at the Louvre because that's what's available. But it looks like I only hit their tracks, which is unfortunate, but... And we're going to spot that Scorp. And now our Progetto's dead, so that's not good. He was actually being a bullet sponge for me there. And I kind of realized that a little bit too late here. We're going to get a few more shots in, try to. Now, see, in the middle of the map, nothing spotted. So I went over here to go spot for my team again. They can see it, so now I'm going to go over here. Now, there's a couple of SPGs. There's 2 left in the game. And I'm trying to spot them, but I don't find one. It's okay. They tend to have camo nets on, which makes them hard to see. We get hit twice here. That's not good, right? Obviously, the jig is up. I got to get out of here. They're reloading. Most tanks have about a 10-second reload. There's a lot of variables to that. But because I knew they shot, I figured I could make this run over here and not get shot crossing. And we were able to successfully do that. Now, it's very important to preserve your hit points as a light tank because you need to be able to go spot things, and sometimes when you spot something, they'll spot you back and shoot you. But because I'm low, I gotta play a little more defensive, but I do need to still spot things. So I'm gonna go over here, we spot the T-44, back off. I can't afford to engage it. I can't take another hit, so I'm gonna let my team shoot the T-44. It's no longer my problem. They have a target to hit. I'm gonna go back over here, because the louver's dead. And hopefully they'll shoot that T-44 so I don't have to worry about it. And we almost flipped there. That's just a light tank thing. Sorry. And basically we're light tanks, so by design we don't have as much armor. We're not as heavy. And it can happen. Just be careful. Try not to drive like a crazy person like I was. And you should be alright. The T-44 is still alive, but they're preoccupied. They got stunned by an artillery shot. So I'm going to go over here. See if I can spot that artillery again, because I know there's one over here. And there we go. That's what I was looking for. So we're going to get a nice, easy shot into this. Artillery have no armor, so again, I don't have to worry about what spot I'm hitting. And the team gets the shot. Good kill. And that's where the snipers are. Now, there's a medium tank over here getting some sniping damage. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe that UDES had been out over in Hill, my job could have been much harder in the earlier part of the game, but because they decided to camp per se and sit in the very back and not help their team, don't think they did a lot for that. Unfortunate. Oh well, there's 2 tanks left. I'm pretty sure I know roughly where they are, so I'm gonna go spot them for the team, get some sighting damage, which is all for experience. I'm also gonna try and work my gun in as much as I can, clean up this match. Yep, so we spot the last 2 tanks. They're exactly where I expected them to be. That tank destroyer is dead, and we have this SPG to harass. Pull behind the rock so I don't get hit. And we try to get this shot, but because of auto aim, I rushed it a little bit too much and didn't hit it. Oh well. Not bad, really good game. A lot of damage, pretty happy with it. So with that tiny gun, it's really great. And let's move on to the next video. Okay, we're back at it with mines this time. So this map's a little different. This much smaller map. And this is going to be a much more fast-paced game, so I kind of wanted to break down those things. Sorry that it was some verbal diarrhea going on over there. But I wanted to break down some simple concepts to you guys really quick, so that way you'd kind of be able to understand and appreciate what's going to happen in this game really quick. So this is a small map, and this is where all the vision happens. You can't spot some of the stuff over here, but you can basically spot everything from this hill. So that's my whole goal, is to rush that way. And you're going to see in chat that the Progetto asks, are we going to take hill? He didn't think I was fast enough. And I'm like, well, he doesn't know. I'm going to go ahead and ping on the map with a command that I am going that way. And that means, and I'm also looking back there to kind of see what kind of deployment we have. You definitely don't want to rush up on this hill if you don't have your team to support you. And I see the heavies behind me, so I feel pretty confident. And we're going to engage another LH. Really small British light tank. And because it's so small and it has so little weight compared to me, I get this really awesome idea. I'm going to ram it. And I'm using my gun the whole time. Push it into that rock, cause more damage. And reload, boom. And we were able to successfully take out their light reconnaissance tank without having any actual damage on our tank. So now, what I gotta do is I gotta spot things for my team and use my gun while I can. That is my mission. Alright, so in the back over here, That's a Scorp G. That is a sniper, a tank destroyer. And I can't angle my gun down because this is a Russian light tank. So I'm actually going to get pretty creative, and I'm going to pop my tank right up against the wall, kind of reverse onto it so I can depress the gun just a little bit. We could take a shot on this SPG. I think I'm aiming for the tracks there and I miss, which is unfortunate, but oh well. We'll have to hope that somebody else can clean up that. Now they're running away, so I gotta wait 10 seconds. That little person at the top there was my sixth sense. You can customize it a little bit. And what that tells me is I was spotted when it's a certain crew skill. There we go. We light the Scorp G on fire. So there is an RNG chance that you could light an engine on fire with a shot. And there's that artillery that we hurt earlier. They got a little bit of payback, but nothing too fancy. We're already doing really good. We've got 1,700 damage. Pretty darn good for a light tank. Oh, look, another tank destroyer, another sniper to get. So I don't have to angle the gun back as much with this position. Now, they disappeared, but I know they're roughly there. Now, one thing I do want to talk about really quick is vision mechanics. So, light tanks, right? These bushes, when they're opaque, and I shoot through them while I'm aimed. This way, if I'm shooting through them like this, it doesn't really matter as much, but while I'm zoomed in, if they're opaque, that means that my there's a penalty when you shoot, a vision penalty, and they can spot me when I shoot. But if I'm all the way back, I don't get the penalty. That's all I was doing. I was sitting in the back. It wasn't really working out. I need to spot them again, so I push up. But because I pushed up, they spotted me. So I scooch back, take a shot, and I'm just basically making it hard to hit, and also shooting them from the opaque bushes. Cool. So we already have 2392, which is way above average. That's what that color means over there. And there is that darn SPG that ran away, so they probably should have ran a little bit farther back. And look, another tank destroyer, so let's see if we can get some shots. Nothing yet. Alright, bummer, but we gotta try this angle. Anything here? Nope, they're behind a rock, so let's forget about them for a second. What else can we shoot? Gotta keep the gun working. Alright, so we flicked that shot a little bit, so it didn't quite hit the weak spot that I wanted it to. No problem. Thankfully, they didn't hit a weak spot of mine either. I think it was because I was retreating backwards. I gave them an angle that made it hard for them to hurt me, so. Nice shot there. But this is where I start getting a little confident, so I'm pushing up a little bit. What can I do? I gotta hit something else. Can I hit this Luger? No. Oh, the tank destroyer. See what I mean? They do 560 with that shot, and I'm hitting for like roughly 200. And then the Object 430, the one we've been harassing, hit us too for 400 damage. So now I'm in one-shot territory, and I'm like, gosh. But I snaggle back here. He's not even looking. Boom. Get the kill. Nice. So the Object 430 is dead. That's the one we've been harassing. Let's see if there's anything else I can help with this team, because everything else seems to be going pretty well. Can I light another sniper? There's one. And they're looking at me. So unfortunately, we didn't get to fire off that last shot, but we did end the game with 5 kills for the team, and we did a lot of damage. Not as much spotting as I'd like, but we did initially spot 6 tanks, so we did help the team out in terms of deployment and how they could react, and that was really fun. We got a lot of kills there. It was pretty quick. And these guys are just going to clean up the last 2 tanks. It gets a little slow, so we'll end the video here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.